Welcome back to the Bible Breakdown channel. Today's video will be the Mark of the Beast explained. Have you ever heard whispers about the Mark of the Beast? It sounds like something straight out of a blockbuster movie, right? But this idea comes from one of the most mysterious books in the Bible, the Book of Revelation. For centuries, people have debated what it means, and today we're going to dive deep into this fascinating topic. What is this mark? Where does it come from? And what does it all really mean for us today? Stick around as we unpack one of the Bible's biggest mysteries. So, let's start at the source. The Mark of the Beast is mentioned specifically in the Book of Revelation, chapter 13. This book is what's known as apocalyptic literature, which means it's filled with symbols, visions, and prophecies about the end times. The Apostle John wrote it while exiled on the island of Patmos, and it describes a series of visions he received. In chapter 13, John describes a vision of two powerful beasts. The first beast rises from the sea. It has 10 horns and 7 heads, looking like a leopard, with feet like a bear and a mouth like a lion. This beast is given authority and power by the dragon, who represents Satan. It blasphemes God and wages war against the saints. The whole world is mesmerized by this beast and worships it. Then, a second beast appears, this time rising from the earth. This beast looks like a lamb but speaks like a dragon. Its role is to support the first beast. It performs great signs and miracles, deceiving the inhabitants of the earth. And this is where the mark comes in. This second beast, also known as the false prophet, forces everyone rich and poor, free and slave to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. According to Revelation 13 verse 17, without this mark, no one could buy or sell. The mark is described as the name of the beast or the number of its name. This brings us to that famous and often misunderstood number 666. The text says this calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. So, what have we got so far? We have two powerful, deceptive beasts, a system of worship directed at them, and a mandatory mark, the mark of the beast, identified by the number 666. That is required for all economic activity. It's a pretty intense picture, and you can see why it has captured people's imaginations for so long. During the Reformation, many Protestants believed the papacy or the Pope was the beast, and the mark was allegiance to the Roman Catholic Church. In the Roman Empire, some scholars think the mark could have been related to the imperial cult, where citizens were required to declare Caesar is Lord and burn incense to the emperor's image. Refusal meant you couldn't get a certificate, which was necessary for commerce. In more modern times, speculation has run wild. People have suggested credit cards, social security numbers, barcodes, and more recently, RFID microchips or even biometric data. The idea is that some future global leader, the Antichrist, will use a form of technology to implement this system of control. The no buying or selling part makes a technological explanation seem very plausible in our digital age. Imagine a cashless society where your identity, your bank account, and your ability to function are all tied to a single digital marker. It's easy to see how such a system could be used for total control. If you don't conform to the ruling power's ideology, you're simply switched off. This is the fear that drives much of the modern interpretation of the mark of the beast. But there's another, more symbolic way to look at this. Many theologians suggest the mark isn't a literal, physical thing at all. Instead, it's a spiritual symbol representing a person's allegiance and worldview. In the Bible, a mark often signifies ownership or loyalty. For example, in the Old Testament, God's law was to be on the hands and foreheads of the Israelites, symbolizing their thoughts and actions. So, the mark of the beast could be a spiritual counterfeit of this. The forehead represents our beliefs, thoughts, and what we worship. The hand represents our actions and what we do. So, receiving the mark on the forehead or hand could symbolically mean that a person has fully embraced the beast's ideology in both their thoughts and their actions. They think like the world system, and they act like the world system. Their entire life is devoted to the principles of the beast, things like greed, power, and self-worship instead of the principles of God. In this view, the buying and selling aspect is also symbolic. It could represent participation in the corrupt, godless economic and social system of the world. Those who refuse to conform, who choose to follow God's ways instead, are ostracized. They can't buy into the system. They are outsiders. This interpretation shifts the focus from a specific future technology to a timeless spiritual battle that every generation of believers faces. So, which one is it? A literal chip or a spiritual symbol? The truth is, the Bible doesn't give us a crystal clear answer, and that's probably intentional. The book of Revelation was written to give hope and encouragement to persecuted Christians in the first century, while also providing a warning and a vision for future generations. The key takeaway isn't about trying to predict the exact form of the mark. It's about understanding the choice it represents. The story of the mark of the beast is a story of ultimate allegiance. The Bible presents a clear contrast. You can receive the mark of the beast, or you can have the seal of God. Revelation chapter 7 and chapter 14 talk about the servants of God being sealed on their foreheads. This seal represents God's ownership, protection, and the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. So, the real question isn't will I be forced to take a microchip, but where does my loyalty lie? Is it with God, or is it with the temporary systems of this world that prioritize power, money, and self-interest above all else? The mark of the beast is the ultimate expression of rebellion against God. It signifies a conscious and willing choice to worship the creation rather than the Creator. It's a rejection of God's salvation and an embrace of a system that is destined for destruction. So, instead of living in fear of a future barcode, the message of Revelation encourages us to focus on our present faithfulness. It's a call to examine our own hearts. What do we worship? What drives our decisions? Are our thoughts and actions, our foreheads and our hands dedicated to God? Ultimately, the story of the mark of the beast is a powerful reminder that we all face a choice. It's a dramatic, symbolic narrative that forces us to consider our ultimate allegiance. It's not just about a mysterious number or a scary prophecy. It's about a daily decision to live for God in a world that often pulls us in the opposite direction. It's a call to be sealed by God, marked by His love and truth, rather than by the fleeting and corrupt systems of the world. Thanks so much for watching and exploring this deep topic with me. What are your thoughts on the mark of the beast? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating biblical topics. See you next time.